5 minutes after 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, all of this week we've been highlighting International Credit Union Week, and joining us today are members of the Western United Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited. How does the credit union plan to cement this year's theme, building financial health for a brighter tomorrow, into its membership? Well, we're going to be joined in a short while by the president of the organization, Mark Ferret, but already with us is CCN-TV6 Secretary, and Sharon Hines, the treasurer. I think Mr. Ferret has just joined us as well, and good morning to all. Good of you to be with us this morning. So let's start with the president. We were having some audio challenges just a short while ago. Hopefully all is well now. Mr. Ferret, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we seem to be still having some audio issues there, but let's go across to the Secretary, CCN-TV6, in the hope of sorting things out with Mr. Ferret in the meantime. Good morning, Ms. D'Souza. And as we talk about World Credit Union Day, observed yesterday, the entire week of activities, how do you position your organization, the Western United Credit Union Co-op Society, in fulfilling the objectives of the credit union movement as we talk about that theme, building financial health for a brighter tomorrow? How is that being achieved by your credit union? Good morning to you, Ms. D'Souza.
Good morning. So first I want to say good morning to the viewing public of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's the first time I'm on Morning Edition. So I mean, I'm feeling very, very honored right now to represent the Western United Credit Union. And of course, for those that don't know me, my name is CCN-TV6, and I'm the Secretary of the Board of Directors of the Western United Credit Union. And to answer your question, Fazir, we have been working very, very hard to promote the credit union and also to focus on the development of the people, the members of the credit union. In fact, we have embarked on quite a few webinars recently, and the most recent one was on generating generational wealth. And our president featured one of our board of directors as well as one of our financial investors, and they spoke extensively on how do we generate, or how do we create generational wealth, right? So it is all about saving. It's all about the change of the mindset of persons towards saving, towards your future, thinking about your future, towards developing your standard of living. So what our thrust was, what was our main purpose, was to change mindsets, was to encourage persons to save, to encourage persons to look at their financial situation, especially in light of what is happening with COVID, right? And I know that this pandemic caught persons off guard, right, in terms of their savings. Do they have savings to sort of weather the storm during this pandemic? So we were encouraging persons in this recent webinar to save, to look at your future, you don't need to have a lot of money to start saving. You could start small, and eventually you will reap the benefits of saving for the future.
Well, let's move the discussion forward, but let me just check again if the President, Mark Ferret, can hear us at all, or if we can hear him, to be more precise. Are you there with us, Mr. Ferret? Okay, still not as yet. So let's move along to Sharon Hines, the treasurer of the organization. Very, very kind of you to join us as well, Ms. Hines. And following on what Ms. D'Souza was saying about encouraging saving, are you seeing that happening among the members of the organization, or is it really easier said than done from your experience, Ms. Hines?
We're seeing it happening. We have encouraged it in terms of when people come to borrow or to do a transaction, that we set aside a certain amount for them to their savings, your mother would have said to you, or my mother said to me, drop, drop, fill bucket. So we start with whatever small, and you are seeing it. We put some on shares, but we also put some on deposit. We have a new account we call the rainy day account, and whatever it is, whatever transaction they do, we put aside some there so that it encourages. So slowly but surely, you're seeing it happening. I also wanted to add to what Dixie. Sorry.
Yes, go right ahead. Go right ahead, please.
I was going to add to what Dixie said that in terms of having the webinar for the generational wealth, but we also had prior to that enrolled some of our members who are business people, sole traders, onto the Cipriani Labor College, giving them tools to help them grow your business. You may have the know-how in terms of how to make a product or whatever it is, but the actual finances is just as important. And that was actually well received by the members.
And I can only imagine how frustrated Mr. Ferret is as president that he's not able to contribute to the discussion because of some issues
with
the audience.
Loves to talk, huh? He loves to talk. So
I can imagine. But
this is very disheartening.
I can imagine. But Ms. Hines, before I go back to Ms. D'Souza, how much of the issue, and because you're all in the business of assisting people and developing some financial well-being, how much of it is really down to discipline? Not so much this issue and that issue and who have and who don't have, but that discipline that you alluded to, that from small you were taught, put a little bit aside, put this aside, put a little bit aside, and that by the time you need it, it's there for you because you've practiced that discipline of saving, whatever the circumstances. From your perspective, Ms. Hines, how challenging is it for us to develop that discipline?
Oh my gosh, you hit the nail on the head. It is challenging. It is a constant uphill battle to remind people. Sometimes they're not too pleased with you. Sometimes the discipline is, people may approach you for a loan as you talk about discipline. Sometimes you may think you need a loan. You don't actually need it. But if you discipline yourself, you will be able to get out of your situation. And that is a constant area that we have to work on with the members.
And going back to Ms. D'Souza, if I can, as far as the role, because again, we're focusing on that theme, building financial health for a brighter tomorrow. You inadvertently said building wealth as well, and that element of it, because so many of our bills are tied up in medical expenses. So it is about health, physical health in that regard. But talking about the issue of the vision for the credit union movement, do you see the movement being further challenged as we move further forward with the economic challenges and the COVID-19 challenges? Or do you see the resilience and the strength of the credit union movement holding institutions like yours together as you move forward? How do you see that?
Actually, I see the credit union as being very resilient, yes, but it is also for a serious challenge. One of the main challenges are sometimes the members are having some financial difficulty. And financial difficulty in the sense that some of them cannot pay their loans and may be applying for deferrals. So we have that challenge where members are indeed suffering. We have been seeing that. Yet still we are seeing, because of the outreach and what the different events and activities that we are doing, we are encouraging members, we are supporting them as much as possible, and also finding a way where we as a credit union will also have a win-win situation. So both the member as well as the credit union will benefit. So we try our best to support the members, especially those who are struggling, as well as we also have to seek the interest of the credit union and ensure that the credit union stays above the water through these crucial times. So on one side, yes, it is resilient. Yes, we are also having some challenges, but yet still we want to ensure that the members are able to weather the storm. So we are doing those things that are necessary to support our members as well.
And before I go back to Ms. Hines, if you could tell me, Ms. D'Souza, you mentioned the webinar and how effective that was. Let me just check and see if Mr. Ferret is there with us, if you can hear him at all.
Yes.
I am trying. Good
Right,
morning.
we're hearing you now.
Oh
Finally,
my God.
finally.
Praise God for that one.
At last. Thank
So-
you so much to Ms. Galston for
So-
suggesting that I use the headset.
Right. So Mr. Ferret, we're hearing you now. So let's leave the remaining time to you to outline your vision and indeed as your other two members have very effectively talked about the work being done, Ms. D'Souza and Ms. Hines, about encouraging discipline and savings through these difficult times. How do you see the way forward for your organization, Western United Credit Union?
Good morning, Madam Secretary, as I call her, Madam Treasurer. Good morning. Good morning to you again, Kazira, and good morning to the viewing population of Trinidad and Tobago and the wider community. The vision for the organization, Kazira, is to ensure that the lives of the membership becomes more dynamic holistically. We do not only concentrate on the financial aspect of the members, but we concentrate on that holistic approach. So, in terms of the human development, what we are saying is that we must ensure that persons understand or become self-aware of who they are as an individual. Earlier, you were always speaking about savings and about discipline, but we are working with our members to ensure that they understand that to achieve the financial health, because we are celebrating this year, building financial health for a brighter tomorrow. How do we do that? And it first starts with understanding who you are as an individual, where you are at. Are you willing to make the necessary sacrifices to be disciplined enough to reposition your thinking to achieve that generational wealth creation that we all desire, while keeping your family in mind as you go along the way. So the vision of the organization is to ensure that there's a continuous generational wealth creation. There is a continuous improvement of the standard of living for our members. There is continuous improvement of the standard of life. And it all begins with the partnership. We can't do it alone. The members cannot do it on our own, but we must come together collectively to ensure that it is not only a transition or a transactional relationship, but it is a transformational relationship, ensuring that we understand what your goals are, we understand what your dreams are, where you want to be, and then we sit and we work with you and counsel you along the way to ensure that you realize your dream.
And a final question to you, Mr. Fred. And if I could ask Ms. Hines, if you could just mute your microphone just a little bit, because I think we're getting some sound feeding in to the discussion with Mr. Ferret. And I hope the two ladies don't mind that I'm allowing the President the last couple of minutes to discuss a couple more points. Thank you very much for your cooperation to our two ladies. I noticed that the motto of your organization is the Latin esse quam videri, which I think translates to be rather than to seem, which in other words is saying that rather than talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. How do you translate that in the present times that we are in the context of the credit union movement, Mr. Ferret, as a final thought?
How is that translated? It means that in simple terms, that if we say that we are supposed to be accountable or transparent in how we govern the people's business, we cannot assume, people cannot say, okay, I wonder if, but we must be transparent. We must be accountable. And in addition to that, we are saying that as a cooperative movement, we are here to lift people out of a sense of hopelessness and to ensure that the poverty is removed from their life. So, in terms of who, when we talk about poverty, and I want to make that very, very clear, that we are not only talking about from an economic standpoint, but we are talking from a standpoint of spirituality. We are talking from a standpoint of, of your physical being, and we are also talking from a standpoint of your mental well-being. So if it is we are saying that we have to talk, we are talking and we are working to ensure that the movement continues to grow, we must present ourselves as responsible, reliable leaders within the movement, understanding that our role has nothing to do with us as individuals, but everything to do with our membership and changing humanity to live their truest, authentic selves, so that when they come into whatever credit union, because we are not only here promoting Western United Credit Union, this is about the whole movement. And whichever credit union you belong to, it is our responsibility to ensure that you as a member live a better life at the end. And it is so therefore we must ensure that when you move, as I would have said in a previous discussion, we prepare you in your summertime to live a very comfortable, happy, joy-filled winter experience.
Indeed. I would interpret it as saying the challenges of the dry season. When the wet season comes along, we're well prepared for it. But thanks very much,
Yes.
Mr. Ferret, for taking the time. And indeed, before that, Dixie Ann D'Souza, the Secretary, and Sharon Hines, the Treasurer. Thank you so much for taking the time. Western United Credit Union, you can reach them at wescutrinidad.com. They're on Facebook as well. You can also call 628-5288, 622-3379, and 628-0926. 722 in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's now check on the traffic situation in Charfleur along the Eastern Main Road. It looks as if there would have been some rain overnight. It looks as if the commercial wants to jump in. You ain't getting any free time on TV6, not in this Gova season. 723 in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be right back.